everybody? Welcome back to another Bleach 5e video. Today marks the first update video of the year. We're pretty deep into the year now, but I only said it on the Discord. So if you haven't been back to the channel since the last update, which was last year, Happy New Year, everybody. And we got a lot of things to go over for this update. So right away, let's get into the changelog of what changes have occurred. So from the top down, we got restructured bound class and cleaned up wording, bound subclasses name changed to tribes, restructured dull armament and cleaned up wording, restructured Fullbring armament, adjusted Fullbring ascended ability in Invictus, adjusted Zabakto armament, changed extend ability augment to extended ability, and effects swapped with persistent ability augment. Swapped distant ability augment effect with expansive ability augment. Persistent ability changed to persisting ability. Expansive ability augment removed. Updated heightened ability augment. New augment, potent ability. Updated the shrifts and of course page numbers and update video. So let's right away get into these updates one at a time and go over them. Before we move on, I need to give my patrons a big shout out for being supporters of me and the project. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being part of this community at any tier that you're currently at. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad to have you guys here by my side, and I hope to see you guys with me at the finish line when we get this book taken care of and finished. Thank you guys so much. And with that said, let's move on to the video. First up is the bounce class restructuring. Now, if you look through the bounce class, most of it is relatively the same. Some wording got cleaned up, obviously, but it's mainly just what things happen. The level structure is really the big change. Most things stayed the same. SP didn't get changed. Max spell level didn't get changed. Some of the abilities didn't get changed, maybe just updated in wording, but it's just mainly the structure and the rate that things happen, just so things start happening at level 1, 3, 5, just to fall in line with all the other classes, so they're all kind of happening at the same rate, and really just to keep in line with the new D&D 5e class structure of all of them keeping the same. Now, this doesn't mean I am completely updating the book to the new D&D, basically 5.5. I want to let the D&D 5.5 kind of be around a little bit longer and go over it and decide what I want to take from it and what I want to update, what rules I want to pull from it, all that kind of stuff. Just because it would be, I'm pretty far into the book now to try to retroactively go in and make a bunch of updates to fall in line with those rules. So that's a little update I might put somewhere. I'm not sure where, but this is based off of the 2014 D&D, which is just D&D 5e. And I'm not updating it to the rules at the moment, but that's something I could look at later on down the line once the book is in a more finished state. But yeah, if you go through everything, I'm not going to go too much, spend too much time on it, but everything is practically the same thing. Something's got had to get a little bit changed just to fit the new structure, but it's relatively the same. Things didn't really get much updates. I know the spell thief, I updated the wording because it was a little bit confusing, so that might be a little bit different, just to make sure that's all clear. But everything else is practically the same as far as I can remember. I make a lot of changes, here and there, and sometimes I don't remember all of them. But that's basically what got changed here for the bound class. And of course, the bound tribes got changed, just the name, just because I wanted to have each class to have their own unique name for their subclasses. So I'm kind of going through and making those changes through all the classes as much as I can. And I'm pretty much done with all of them, I believe. But yeah, they're called tribes now, just because that's what they're referred to within the anime and the wiki. So I figured that's going to be the name for them. But yeah, let's move on down to the doll. Here we got the doll armament. Same thing. Everything just got restructured to be in line with all of the other armaments, so they kind of can coexist with the subclass that they the main character class that they follow along with. So everything's kind of a little bit balanced in the kind of level of progression that I want people to be going at. So nothing really much changed, but just when things happen, it got changed a little bit to fall in line with the new changes that were made. But everything is pretty much the same, other than just maybe some wording getting updated, and that's about it. But everything is, like I said, shouldn't have changed that much. Next up, we got the Fullbring armament. Now, the biggest change that got here was obviously the structure of the armament, just to be in line with all the other ones. but mainly here on the wording, which I'm not sure if you can see this well from the video, but it basically reads, choose an armament type to be your base type. You can select armament abilities from your selected type as normal, as well as from any other armament type except Halic File and Hollow abilities. Now, just because Fullbrings are a little bit unique in that they can choose practically from any kind of type, but I did need to distinguish that you have to pick a base type because other abilities matter or want to know what your base type is for certain things. So I just wanted to clean up that wording, and I believe I cleaned that wording up for all the other ones as well. So they should all be in the same kind of use the same wording, so they kind of work with other abilities when they care about what's your base type or secondary type or so on and so forth for those things. So that's the biggest update that got changed. And then we got to Invictus. So from the old one, it's just whenever you would select an armor ability, you can pick like an ascended ability. So now the Invictus has its own proper ascended form, just so it fits in with the Quincy, it fits in with Shinigami, obviously. And the other ones, I'm doing something similar, but that's mainly wanting to go make sure they all have their own proper kind of form for it. So let's read what the new one does. While released, you can spend an action for SP to become ascended for a number of rounds equal to your level +1. While ascended, you unleash the full power of your Fullbring and gain the following benefits. Your maximum hit points are doubled, and you regain 5 hit points per Fullbring level. You gain 3 hollow abilities of your choice and can pick hollow abilities while ascended. You gain 2 additional armament abilities. You gain 1 ascended ability. At the end of the duration, you gain a level of exhaustion. At 15th level and again at 20th level, you gain an ascended ability and 3 additional armament abilities, which are only available while ascended. Now, the biggest thing we got from the show and a little bit more explanation in Can't Fear Your Own World is that the Fullbring abilities are somewhat kind of hollow based, but that mainly revolves around the hollows attacking the mother when when they have the baby in the womb, and that have kind of like hollow Ryatsu getting mixed in is what we got it from. And then later on in Can't Fear Your Own World, spoilers, Fullbringers have a shard, a nail of the Soul King, which is the reason why Hollows were attracted to the mothers to attack them because of that, I guess, dense spiritual energy. And then that kind of gets mixed in, I would assume, with the Hollow energy and kind of converge and turn into this Fullbring kind of thing. So I guess technically not really hollows now that we know this, but I decided since the only real hollow we have a lot of info from is from Ichigo, which isn't a good example for anything because he's a protagonist with a bunch of stuff mixed in with them. But we don't really got a lot of other info from the other ones, so I decided, what, let's just try this out. Let's give them hollow abilities and see how that goes. So as you can see here, they again gain 3 hollow abilities of your choice and can pick hollow abilities while ascended. So that kind of goes in with all the other ones. When you gain 2 additional armament abilities, you can pick hollow abilities if you want to for those. But yeah, so that's going to be the new Invictus ability for Fullbrings, and hopefully that gives a little bit more spicier, gives them a little bit more power. Let me know what you guys think about this, if this is a good change, or if you wanted to see something more. I'd like to hear your thoughts below in the comments. So let's move on. Next up, we got the changes for the Zanpakuto armament. Now, right away, you can see big change. The entire scaling has been removed, and this is basically going to be a fairly, depending on the classes and the kind of build you have, nerf to the Shinigami, which was something that they definitely need to help the other classes kind of catch up to them in power. So when you go through here, at the very bottom is the Zanpakuto forms, and you can see now they are capped out at their specific damage types, but of course with other abilities it can be increased. But that's where they're at now, and they don't have any more scaling. So that's mainly the biggest difference with the Zanpakuto changes. Some wording got updated, like with Bonkai, everything got changed to refer to as like the proper ascended and stuff like that. Those things kind of got updated in the wording, but everything else is pretty much the same. That's the biggest change that happened, is a slight Zanpakuto nerf for the Shinigami to bring them down a little bit in power. But that's going to be it for the Zanpakuto changes, and let's move on. Okay, next up is the changes in augments. The first thing when I went over them, it might have been a little bit confusing. It's just abilities got shuffled around, names got changed, and that's basically it. And so when you're going through it, you're going to see some changes on it, but it's really not that much. I really wanted to make these changes so they are in line with the existing naming scheme that's already used in 5e for these type of augments, because they're based off of meta magic is I'm sure most of you are aware of from the sorcerer class. So I wanted to make sure those abilities stay the same. So when someone is like going from vanilla D&D and they are aware of those abilities, when they come here, they'll know, oh, I know what that ability does because that's kind of what it's based off of. So that's the main changes and the reasons why I made the changes to them. There's some other ones with similar stuff that I'm thinking of changing, but things have been around for so long that I don't know if I want to change to be in line with them. So probably not going to change them. These are probably going to be the only changes to them. So they match the names of the meta magic that they're based off of. But that's about it. And then of course, potent abilities, just the saving throw increases by 1. So some things are going to get those kind of things instead of a heightened ability because that got changed. But yeah, that's kind of it. I'm not going to go through all the other ones. That's stuff you guys can go through on your own and kind of see where they got changes. But they're pretty minor, but it's something that I did need to mention specifically for the people that are doing translations of the book. So they're aware of those changes. But yep, that's going to be it for the augments. And let's move on down. Okay, this is going to be the last update of the book here. It is the Shrifts. Now, the Shrifts have been pretty cool. I really liked the idea. I liked where they were at. But of course, as I've mentioned previously, when they first got added to the books, this is something I knew I was going to come back to update, especially when we got more information from the anime to give us some more details on some of these Shrifts and how they work and visualization so we can kind of have a better understanding of what they do and how they work. So now that we've gotten a good amount of the Shrifts shown in the anime and got to get a lot of information, this was a perfect time for me to go through and start updating them. So I wanted to keep in mind that these Shrifts are supposed to be late game abilities. So when you go to the Boon of the Shrift, you have to be level 15 to start picking these up, and then they start scaling in those last 5 Quincy levels. So let's go through what changes have been made. So for Shrifts, one of the biggest things is just explaining some more information that they are magical abilities. You can activate them while sealed, but are greatly enhanced while in Volständig, and then the effects of your Shrift last for the duration, or if you die. Some everything else, and then we got epithets. So epithets are basically the augments, but for Shrifts. So epithets function similar to augments. Each ability will state when you gain an epithet. And then, of course, just custom Shrifts here for people if they want to use a custom Shrift. And then we got the canon Shrifts, which means at some point I have some homebrew Shrifts I'm going to be adding to the book at some point. I don't know when I'll get to them, but that is something I have in mind of wanting to do. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the Shrifts, so I'm just going to go through like the first few just to show you what's going on. So now, as you can see, they got the SP cost, casting range, components, duration, just like a regular unarmed ability would have, or spell. So they're kind of similar, and you know, it's not too confusing for some people. We got all the abilities here that they do, like for the antithesis. The biggest thing we have here is the Volständig forms, and for this one here, I have the antithesis, and I've named it Shem Hazai, one who beholds the name. While ascended, you can choose 2 effects. When you gain a Quincy level, that's all it does when you while you're ascended. You can choose 2 effects of the antithesis, and it kind of tells you what the effects are. And then for the epithets, when you gain a Quincy level, you choose one of the following epithets. And then here we have the list of epithets for you to choose from. Now, if we go down, we got Be the Balance. It's got its own thing here as well. It tells you what it does. This one kind of got the biggest change from the previous one, just to kind of help out with the structure of it, since it was a little bit confusing and it's a little bit easier to see on the eyes when you're going through it, in my opinion. So you guys let me know if you think this structure is a little bit better. But it goes through the same abilities, what it does, and then we have the ascended form, Avatar Muzanai, which means skills of justice. While ascended, your Shrift and armor abilities can't be countered. And when you get a Quincy level, you choose one of the following epithets, and it has all of these epithets here for you to pick from. So they're all going to have at least 5 different epithets. Some might have more, some you can pick multiple times, like a regular augment, and so on and so forth. Now, some of these have different names that don't follow the IL naming scheme that some of the Quincy names do, and it's not like a hard naming scheme that's Kubo has been using, as you can see from like Tartarforus and Askins. So I wanted to make sure to give myself some room for some other crazy names. As you can see from the antithesis, we got Shem Hazai, and then Be the Balance, we got Avatar Muzanai. So, and then we got Sariel for the compulsory and all the other ones that you know of, and some new ones that I got added. So obviously, I'm not going to go through each individual one because that would take a very long time. But you can go through, as you can see, a lot of things got updated. Some of them got a little bit changed, but they're basically the same kind of thing. just effects got, I think, expanded upon and clarified, in my opinion. So you guys let me know if some things still aren't clear enough, and now make the changes if I need to on the next update. But yeah, go through these. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if any of them are your favorite ones, if there was one you didn't like before, but now you do like, or if one that you did want to use or had thoughts of or have been using that you don't like anymore. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all of that. But yep, that's going to be it for this update. A bit of a short video, but there's just a lot of stuff going in here. So just wanted to make sure we go through all of them and didn't want to spend too much time on each individual one. So on the Discord, for those who don't know, I did a poll to make any changes to the roadmap of the order of things to be done that I wanted to be working on. I got some roles for time zones, some events, combining channels, mods, and further stuff in the future. So for the roadmap, those got updated. So if you want to take a look at those, you can go over to the Discord. I'll probably have like maybe a little picture here up on it. Ooh, what's wrong with my camera? Why is it freaking out? Okay, I think my camera just randomly going blurry. Oh well. I have some time zone on here because I want to do some events moving forward in the future, which is like TM help, character workshop, one shot, stuff like that. But I can't do that if I don't know what's the majority of people's time zones. So after doing the poll, I can see most people are on the East Coast of the USA, which is rough because that's 3 hours ahead of me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to do events for anybody in the East Coast. Unfortunately, that's pretty rough. It would have to be something like super early for me on the weekends or something. But so we'll go about that later on. Some channels got combined just to save up some space and keep similar subjects within the same channel. And then mods. Since I've made these polls, I have tried to look into finding kind of mods and different applications to use. So there's like a Google Doc or like forum that I'm gonna have and send out, post it on the Discord for people to fill out to see if they want to be mods. And mods are someone that I want to not only just be moderating the channel, but also holding events like workshops, character workshops, maybe even DM help if they are DMs, and some one shots and other stuff like that that I posted on the Discord. So for people that are interested in that, I'll be making a post for that hopefully soon. Like I said, I in the Discord, I've never needed to do mods or anything like that. So this is gonna be a first time thing for me. So some growing pains for us right here. But yeah, in the future, I want to revamp the character sheet that we have, which is in the resources. For some people that don't know, I have adjusted the 5e character sheet to be a little bit more accommodating to the Bleach 5e system, but I would like the Bleach 5e system to have its own custom character sheet. So I don't know how to really go about that and contacting someone who's familiar with D&D and that kind of stuff to create a custom character sheet. So that's something I'm going to do, as well as hopefully in the future I'd like to make that character sheet then available in like Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, and all those other virtual tabletops, so for people that do use those programs to have that as well. That would be really cool. And then maybe even adding the book to those in the future, that would be really nice as well. But that's something pretty far off that I don't want to focus on right now. I want to focus on finishing the book and doing all my writing and other kind of content that I want to do. But yeah, so that is, I believe, going to be it. Keep an eye out for all these updates I'm going to be doing, like with events and mods, and stick in the channel. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts about it. Maybe share some stories of your campaigns, put your character sheets, some monsters you might have used or battled. It'd be great to hear all that stuff. I'd like to see all this kind of different engagement. It's really great to see it when people are talking about all this stuff and different builds that they have. It's always really nice to see, and sometimes even surprising of combinations or custom things that I've seen where I'm like, whoa, that's surprising. Oh, right. That reminds me, custom stuff, homebrew stuff. Now, I know people have some stuff that they've homebrewed and they want to be able to share it. I am wondering if you guys want me to have a specific channel for homebrew, or if I should make it part of community sharing. I think it should be its own channels in the system discussions area where I have questions and issues about the system, Bleach 5e suggestions and language translation stuff. I think that should be in the same spot, and this should have its own area for homebrew. for people to kind of share. So you guys let me know, or if it should just have its own folder by it, I can do that too. I'd like to hear in the comments below or in the Discord. You guys let me know what kind of how you what do you guys want to see regarding that. But I do want to have homebrew, and also if you guys want me to add it now or wait till I complete a little bit more updates to the book. Now I think if on the roadmap, let me take a look at it. I have some pretty big updates. So up next is going to be the Hollow and Arrancar update. Then it's new feats and boons, finishing chapter 1, summon armament rework, finishing chapter 3, oppression armament rework, additional backgrounds, and then updating the book style, finishing chapter 8, and updating chapter 7 equipment. I think you guys let me know. I'll add it now if you guys want, so everyone can start sharing some homebrew stuff. But the reason I haven't added it yet as of currently right now is because I don't want anyone to think I'm taking ideas from them and stealing stuff like that. So that's something I've been paranoid about, and that's the reason why I haven't put any of that out. So yeah, but you guys let me know if you want me to add it now or if you want me to wait until I finish like number 11. I think would be the after I finish the 11th item on the roadmap is probably the best time to add it. But you guys let me know. But with that said, that's going to be it for all the updates. Thank you guys so much for following me on this journey. Thank you so much for having so much fun with the book and sharing all your experiences with it. It's always great to hear, and it fills me with some warmth. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.